Welcome back to day 2 here at the 2023 World Rowing Coastal Championships, Barletta. We've had 2 of the main blocks of racing done for the day, and that means that this third block will see the last of the remaining heats in the championship competition get underway. We've got the women's double second heat, and then we've got the third heat for the men's solo and the third heat for the mixed double before we're done with all of the heats, and all that will remain for the rest of the weekend are B finals and A finals. Loads to look forward to this afternoon. I'm standing here at the moment here in the commentary tower for the local on-site commentary, where these guys are doing stunning work, creating an amazing beach party vibe. This is Camilla Hadland-Horrocks, who's been doing some of the local commentary, DJ Mark Covell over there, and our on-site producer, Mark Isaacs. The atmosphere has been absolutely stunning. The grandstand packed and a party atmosphere for all of the athletes you can see behind me here getting ready to start their races in all of the starting lineups. We're just under 10 minutes away from the start of the next race. Loads to look forward to as this next race gets started, the second heat for the women's doubles.
I'm here with Gwyn Batten, Commission Member and Chair of the World Rowing Coastal Commission. Gwyn, it's great to have you here. Can you tell us a little bit more about coastal rowing?
So coastal rowing is all about being on the sea, and here at the World Rowing Coastal Championships we do the endurance format, where we're out going offshore racing between 4 and 6 kilometres.
And I mean, there's been a real spotlight on this type of rowing. What makes it so fascinating, and perhaps, you know, I guess to supply the obvious, what makes it so challenging?
Yeah, so I mean, I think the histrionics of the sport is it comes from the traditional fishing. It comes from needing to pilot, you know, ships into port. So the skills of being able to row on the sea have stem back to a long time ago, and what we're trying to do here is we're trying to add those together, turn it into a sport. So we have a type of boat which everyone from all over the world can manufacture. Those boats come together and race, because many of the coastal rowers around the world row in different types of boats. So what we have here in the format here is we have a mass beach start with 18 boats starting off that beach. They'll go out 1 kilometre to the first buoy, and you've got to get there first. If you want clean water around that first mark, you need to race really hard for the first kilometre. Then it's round the cans, we've got a chicane in there, and then back up onto the beach and sprint up over the finish line.
And it just seems to get better and better every year. And here in 2023 in Barletta, is there anyone that you've particularly got your eye on over the course of this weekend?
Yeah, we've got quite a few returners, former world champions who came through with coastal, then gone on and had successful careers at the Olympics in flat water, and then coming back. So we've got quite a few of those. I'm not going to name any names because I know that the commentators will pull those out, but we've got some great racing and some really skillful athletes.
Amazing. Well, great to hear from Gwyn there. And now we've heard from Gwyn, let's hear from some of our athletes how they would describe coastal rowing.
Can you describe coastal rowing in one word?
Well, we're fun.
Mid.
Yeah, that's good. Carnage.
Chaos.
Great! Adventure!
Waves and one. High tide.
Waves and sand.
Can you describe coastal rowing in one word?
Chaos.
Chaos.
Chaotic.
Wild.
Exciting and unpredictable. Wild.
Wait.
A big experience.
Exciting.
It's fun.
Exciting.
Crazy.
Carnage.
Coastal rowing in one word.
Arbenig.
Quickly, can you describe coastal rowing in one word?
Phenomenal.
To race a coastal endurance race, you need some amazing equipment. And these boats have been fine-tuned with a load of adaptations to make them exactly that. Amazing for coastal racing. Here we've got a quadruple scull that has a few adaptations that I'm going to take you through. Firstly, there are loads of different hull shapes out there. This one has a curved back bow, but it's still quite close to vertical on the front edge. That means that it can slice through the waves that little bit better. As we move past the leading canvas, or the deck, you can see that there are a few adaptations like this one here, which is called a wave breaker that you can lift up or put down depending on the expected surf that could crash into the front to stop it going into the boat. As we move through the boat, you can see the pretty standard runner and rails for the seat, gates, shoes, waterproof speakers so that they can hear the coxswain, and then pretty standard format all the way down. The boat's 10.5 meters long, which is standard specification. It's 1.30 meter wide in the middle, but plenty of space you can see on the decks here for the athletes to be able to jump in and out of the boat to make sure that they have a clean and safe entry and exit. Some of the cool equipment we've got here for the coxswain. This boat doesn't have a fin. It's got a fin combined with a rudder. So this fin you can see here is retractable and can be turned by those levers to steer the boat. As we move towards the back of the boat, we've obviously got the coxswain seat here, and then we've got the life jackets, which obviously need to be kept on board to make sure that the athletes are safe as they're racing. Now, with all coastal boats, they have an open back, but you can see an adaptation here. This lifts up to let the water out of the boat, but when they need to go backwards or if there's any wash coming from behind, it automatically drops down so that it stops any water washing back up into the boat from behind. So that's the boat. Now let's have a quick look at the course. The first turning point is nearly 1 kilometer away. It's 1,250 meters away, in fact, and they make a right turn around the first turning point to go 850 meters to the second turning point, before a few chicanes of around 300 to 500 meters through a total of 7 turning points coming back into the finish for a combined 4,000 meters in the heats and the B finals. When it comes to the A finals, those turning points turn into 10 in total and a total of 6,000 meters. So an immense distance they're covering here in the Coastal Endurance. There we have it, your walkthrough of how the boat works and what makes these athletes so impressive when it comes to navigating. They have all of those little tweaks and trinkets to help them navigate the 4K course out there. Here, though, the Lobnig sisters from Austria, impressive athletes. These two, we've got the Olympic bronze medalist in Magdalena Lobnig. She's in the stroke seat, supported by her sister Katarina. Magdalena, though, an impressive track record on the flat water. Under-23 champion back in 2012, European champion in 2016. She was first an Olympian in Rio, bronze medal at the World Championships in 2019, and then a bronze at the Tokyo Olympic Games 2 years ago. So an immense force of Austrian rowing is the Magdalena and Katarina Lobnig sisters. I'm joined by another force of Austrian rowing here in the commentary box, Yuri.
Hello, Peter.
Good to have you back, my friend. Well, we've got the women's double second heat now, about to get underway. A stacked field, 15 boats competing for 9 places through to the A final. No elimination from this heat. We'll see all of the trailing crews from 10 onwards go on to the B final. Now, Yuri, you'd usually be out there helping, doing some boat handling. It looks like Wolfgang's stepped in.
Yeah, I mean, Wolfgang is pretty experienced boat handler because he was like holding also me for the race, and he was racing like some minutes earlier. Oh, it's a start. I mean,
there we go.
I think it's a clean start.
That looked pretty good for them, didn't it? So we're going to have to work out how they get underway. I think they might be out in front already. That would be impressive. It's quite tricky to work out the early leaders just as they come off the beach.
I believe those are the...
Yeah. Good shot here of Ireland. Spain won. Cracking start for Spain won. This is the Real Club Mediterráneo de Málaga. Natalia and Celia Miguel Gomez, sisters from Spain. Miguel Gomez in the stroke seat. Celia, she was world champion in the women's quad last year, so now finds herself in the double with her sister Natalia. A good fast start from them, and there were the Dutch in their iconic yellow boat. Hollandia Roy Club, Janneke van der Meulen and Karin Robbers, world champions of last year in this boat class. So there'll be one to watch there with the colourful bow and the yellow boat. Netherlands 2 on the bow, just ahead of the Lobnig sisters. Oh, they're getting awfully close here, Yuri.
That is very interesting to see this duel because because the Dutch are really experienced coastal rowers. So it's going to be very interesting to see exactly this battle.
Oh dear, we've had a bit of a clash here. That looks like the USA. I think that might be next level rowing. Romanzo and Kasdan. We'll have to wait for that to be confirmed. USA 3 it is. Liliana Natalia Romanzo and Coral Marie Kasdan. Coral's been doing some of the coxing in the quads. That won't have got them off to the best of starts. 9 places to go through though, so there's plenty of water left to make up for it. Ooh, this is the tussle. This is the one to watch out for, isn't it, Yuri?
I believe yes, because it's just, you know, the flat water double sculls against real coastal one. I mean, the girls like from Austria, they have really much power. I mean, they were clocking like their personal best times like on their like 6th year, so it was really, I mean, they were preparing even for the Belgrade, but unfortunately due to health issues of Katarina, she had some back issues. Magdalena had to start in the single scull. I mean, she did a really great job because without preparation, I mean, particularly in the single scull, to get in that tight field, the quad for the Olympic Games is really, really hard. And it was really achievement for the whole Austria. I mean, everybody is proud of this.
Of her bronze medal from Tokyo.
I mean,
yeah.
You know, she has a lot of pressure on her. I mean, it is who it is.
It was amazing to see that. And also, she got the bronze medal when it was in Linz Ottenheim, the home World Championships back in 2019, right?
But back then, she was also actually only doing the single scull. Now they were training, like they were preparing, like since the last year, since this really very, very surprising success of their double sculls in Račice, I believe. They were all pushing exactly for this project. Okay, I want to go with my sister and Lobnig sisters. This kind of like this its own brand, and I believe they performed very well. There were some issues. I mean, the like you know, child illnesses that they are working on, but they, for sure, like for the next year, they are going to try to go for the rest quad in the double.
Cool. So there's a future in the Lobnig sisters out there on the water racing together. We can see the lineup here, though. They've pulled out to a good lead, so they're clearly using that strength and endurance to go out for a fast start that every boat I've spoken to has been gunning for. The Dutch just behind them. We've then got the Real Club Mediterráneo de Málaga sisters of Miguel Gomez in third place. Italy then trailing in fourth. That's a composite crew from Santo Stefano Lecco with Elisa Alcara and Alice Ramela currently in fourth, ahead of France's Chablais Aviron Tonon. We've got Cindy Pellegrino and Veronique Couvreur. And then currently in sixth place, we've got the USA boat from Next Level Rowing of Kellyanne Vandermeer and Olivia Farah. So that's the leading six coming up to this turning point. But what strength from the Lobnig sisters here, hey, Yuri. I mean, to find them up alongside the world champions from last year and row through them, amazing.
You know, like, don't forget that the Lobnig sisters are all the time training on the lake, like in the Völkermarkt. There are like a lot of nations that are also coming for the training camp there. And sometimes the weather can really get rough. And from the experience, like from the, I think, European champs in Bled, where the waves were like really very high. I believe it was one of the first real big successes in the single scull where Magdalena got her first place, so she became European champion. This was completely rough water. I mean, she made it really perfectly. Even if we look like for her races in, I think in Rio, where the water like in the Gulf was really rough, she performed the best. So I believe like that for these girls, like rough water is not an issue. And as you see, I mean, those conditions are kind of coastal, but they are not like extreme coastal.
You're right. This is, it's not extreme coastal, and you could very well see conditions like we're seeing here on the water on any big lake. But tell us more about where is this Völkermarkt, where they train? Where is that?
It's in south of Austria. Very nice place. They built up a really very nice training group there with juniors, and I believe like all the Austrian national team are making their training camps, I think, 4 times a year, because it's a small city. It's a small city, but very nice. So it's affordable living for the athletes and for the federation to finance it. And sometimes you can see there, like literally the nations, like Germans are coming there because it's just very nice place to row, and it has as well very long span for the training. So basically you don't have to turn around like every 2 kilometers, but you can just row in the single direction, probably like 20 kilometers, and it's perfect.
Wow, so it's enormous then. If you can go in one direction, 20K.
Yeah, I mean, you are not really limited. The only issue is that from certain point, the stream just breaks in. So it becomes real river, so it becomes real stream. And we were like going for 30K or something like that. And in the one direction, you are rowing like 245 in average, like if it's without wind. And in the other direction, 150, completely no problem. So, but then it becomes just a bigger lake, and there you have absolutely no stream, so you can perfectly prepare like for everything.
So the only difference for these girls hit now then is the fact that they're in a boat that's about 1 meter wide compared to the fine racing hull that you'd usually expect on the flat water then.
I mean, you see, they are team. So we have here exactly team. And you know, the team feeling is always stays with them. And I think they know what they do. They trust each other. And in the coastal rowing, I believe like the trust between the partners is one of the most important stuff. Because, you know, like you have to trust a person in navigating. Because if you don't trust, then you can just have arguments and they just... you know, just loss of the energy.
And that's it, isn't it? I mean, we so often see siblings racing together, and that's, you know, that can be quite an obvious thing because they might be the same sort of size, dimensions, reach, length, height. All of these things might be similar, and I think that's certainly the case with the Lobnig sisters. But the fact that they're going to be an ongoing couple or, you know, ongoing double shows that they get on in the boat as well, because I can imagine when you're at a hard training session, your frustration might spill over a little bit more easily towards a sibling than a crewmate.
That is, for example, that is, you know, I think sometimes the biggest issue for the crew if there is too high expectation of themselves, first of all, and they're just getting nervous because of that, and then they just underperform because, you know, kind of afraid to make too many mistakes. But after all, like if they find exactly this one moment of trust and, you know, trust in the process first of all, then they're gonna perform like really perfect. And I believe like that
it's working that way for them, right?
I mean, they had their time off, I would say, as Magdalena was preparing like for the singles call. So I believe that they took a deep breath. They were like, I think last week in the vacation, they, you know, spending a bit time together, relaxing together, and that is something that I think frees up your mind and to make them perform better.
Well, they've got hot competition behind them here. We're looking here at the combination from the Netherlands, Janneke van der Meulen and Karin Roberts, world champions in this boat class last year. We also saw Janneke van der Meulen race last week at the beach sprints where she won gold and became world champion in the women's solo event. So an amazing athlete. Looks like Austria have gone slightly wide on this corner, but they've got enough of a lead to be pretty comfortable with that. This being the third turning point, they're holding a 9-second advantage at the moment over the Netherlands.
I believe now comes pretty interesting part of the race because that's where you can surf a bit more. So I believe that here you could expect already Dutch to do something, like to make their move. Because till now they were rowing like only with watts, I believe, because it was headwind and partly like at start side headwind. But now, exactly where sea already starts up to feel, then I believe the Dutch could make their move. But we don't have to forget that it's still a heat. It's not a final.
That's right, 9 boats going through. So let's see how they're all making their way around turning point 2. The Italians, Elisa Arcara and Alice Romela for Santa Stefano and Lecce have moved up into 3rd place, overhauling the Spaniards from Rail Club Mediterranean to Malaga. Currently then in 5th place, we've got from Chablais Aveyron Tonon, we've got the French boat, just a little bit ahead of 6th place USA 2, where we've got the next level rowing combination of Van der Meer and Farah. 7th is with Ireland 1. We can see we've got from Kincastle Rowing Club, that's Dinnica Maguire and Niamh Dugan. And then 8th place, Spain 4. Spain 4, that's Club Maritimo Linene, Picciano Cano and De Alba. And then in the last danger zone seat, Denmark 1 from the Dan Studentes Rock Club, Samantha Don Robbins and Elizabeth Carland Keller. That's the danger zone, and there is about 10 seconds separating them back to Great Britain 2, who's currently in 10th place. That's the danger seat from River Tane Rowing Club. We've got Rachel Palmer and Amanda Benson-Scales currently in 10th. So they'll be going through to the B final unless they can close that 10-second gap through the remaining K and a half of our 4K course. Still holding a pretty comfortable lead. The Lobnig sisters out in front. I mean, I can't see them needing to put on any push towards the line here.
I believe like you see already like the difference in the experience, because the Dutch are just taking a bit closer turns, and that's where they're actually winning some distance. Because you saw it from the view from above, like on the previous one, that it was just that they just had an advantage there. They just had their advantage because they made just a closer turn. Exactly same here. The Lobnigs are trying, like, kind of, you know, to stay in this rhythmus and like not to change really that stroke rate, or, you know, not to break. But the Dutch, they just took a bit different strategy, and it seems to work. But you know, the watts are probably on the side of the Lobnigs.
Yeah, I think so. They're at 30 strokes a minute, so they're clearly going for that slightly longer and more powerful stroke through it. But as you say, they're losing ground ever so gradually to the Dutch, who are up there at 32 strokes a minute, just 2 pips higher in their race rhythm. But they're pretty much matched for boat speed here as they come towards turning point 5.
I believe, like, on these lengths, there is also some aspect of the sea. So as we see that the speeds changes constantly. But I mean, I can imagine that Lobnig just want to make a statement that, you know, yeah, we're just strong. We don't care about you coastals, you know.
Showing that they're on flat water training is paying off here. But it's so interesting that you talk about the area that they train, because if it gets to choppy conditions like this, then this is ideal for them.
That was just some interesting discussions we had, like, inside of the team, because they were trying to set up the rig, like, for the oars, like 287, and we just try a bit softer probably for the
What
for
did
the
they have at 287, you say?
Yeah, no, but I believe, like, they are now rowing, like, with a similar oars that we rowed yesterday with Wolfgang. So I believe, like, 284. I mean, you know, and they're doing their job with them as well.
And just for those that don't understand it, talk us through the difference between those numbers, the 284 to 287.
The difference is just that I mean, in the flat water, 287, let's say for the women's double, it's gonna be a pretty decent oar length. But in the coastal, where the boat is just double as heavy as in flat water, and first of all, like, completely different dynamics in the boat speed, it can be really useful to make the oars a bit shorter, just to keep this stroke rate high, because just not to lose this dynamics in the movement. And for example, there are even some teams like that are even cutting a bit more to make it them even till 281. So for the beach sprints, so just to keep it in motion.
Amazing. And that oar length, of course, affects the leverage that you have on the oar through the water, making it that bit easier or harder. But as you say, the longer oar length would favor the stronger athlete with the greater endurance, which is what we were talking about, the strength of the Lobnig sisters here. But a little bit of a change in the running order here. We've got Spain having moved back through Italy to now be in 3rd place. Not much change at the rest of the field, though. Denmark have moved through Spain to take... Denmark have moved through Spain to take 8th. That means Spain's in the danger zone now, sitting in 9th place with 11 seconds up on Finland, who are now holding 10th. That's the Finland combination of Marika Laaksonen and Anni Kesanen from the Finnish Coastal Rowers Club. They're currently in 10th. Spain, too, now in 11th, having moved through Great Britain from Real Club de Regatas to Alicante. Ana Salas Cordoba and Violeta Belda-Borja. Great Britain, too, then in 12th, dropping back slightly, a couple of seconds down, Palmer and Benson-Scales. So the field's starting to spread out. I think that leading 9 looking pretty fixed, and nobody's touching the Lobnig sisters here. Hey, Yuri.
I'm in. But look at the Dutch. They're trying, you know, they're just trying to show them that, you know, so sure you are also cannot be, because after all we are world champions. You know, they're trying to make us that, you know, it's still heat. If probably, like, you know, to make some pressure, just can happen pretty well that that, you know, the final gonna be just a bit different. But the Lobnig sisters are just looking great.
Yeah, and the Lobnig sisters have had to go up to 34 now, so I think winding it in for a fast finish here, aren't they?
I mean, they, you know.
Look at their boat speed as well compared to the Dutch at this point.
It's already like, you know, girls being girls. They're trying to make a statement.
Well, the Dutch looking really strong behind, though. I think this is going to be it's going to shape up for an interesting A final, which is where they're destined. We'll look forward to that A final tomorrow afternoon, which will be at 2:30 local time. So the conditions will be a little bit choppier, which might favour the Dutch if it's the afternoon slot
I
tomorrow.
believe yes, but you know, it just keeps the stuff open and interesting, and it's gonna be just, you know, interesting to watch, because that's, I believe, like tomorrow, this gonna be exactly the coastal race where you can see how the flat water team performs against the purely coastal rowing team.
Here comes Katarina.
But it's already, you know, she's just jogging out. It's just losing a bit of lactate that she had, so
Winding it out of the legs. Part of her warm down, is that what you're saying?
yeah, she's already warming down.
And there is that Karin Roberts? No, it's Van der Merlen. Janneke van der Merlen, the world champion from the women's solo last weekend at the beach sprints. World champion from this event last year. She's going to have to go back and revisit her strategy with Karin Roberts, having seen the power of the Austrian Lobnig sisters.
But by the way, I think that Janneke was also a European champion, like from the Lausanne, earlier this month.
Yeah, from San Sebastian, you're saying?
No, from Lausanne.
Oh, Lausanne.
Lausanne-sur-Mer, the European champs 2023.
Yeah.
That we all visited in France.
You were there. How was it?
I mean, it was fun. We had our internal disagreement with a colleague of mine, because at the first buoy I was knocked out by my colleague, and that's why, like, in final A it didn't so well. But you know, part of the job to stay out of the group and just to perform.
Oh, tricky stuff in the Austrian squad. That's why I love the behind-the-scenes news. Now we're going to dive down to the finish line where Luca's collaring some of the athletes.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, what a great race here. We've got Austria, we've got the Netherlands, but let's start from the two sisters who just won and qualified again. How was your race?
It was tough. It was our first race in the double at Coastal, so we were pretty nervous before the race. And the Netherlands and the other crews were so fast, and we were fleeting away from them. Yeah, it was nice, really.
What was your first impression on coastal rowing?
Good, very nice. It's different to the normal rowing, but it's a lot of fun, and it's different, but it's really cool.
Oh, that's great. And then let's hear from these wonderful athletes from the Netherlands. We were saying she won the solo on the beach sprint. Now you just qualified for the final. How are you feeling?
Happy!
Well, that was for sure. How was your race?
Oh, we had an easy ride. No. No, it was good. The weather is nice, and yeah, we had a good teamwork and a good race. But they were too strong after 1K, so we let them in front because we were not sure of the boys. So we decided to follow them.
Well, we decided to follow. That's what you said. What are you deciding exactly?
I told Magdi, keep the Netherlands in the eye and do what they do, because it's the first race for us, following boys and stuff like that. So we followed you actually.
So we can't wait to see you both into the A final.
Great to hear from Katarina Lobnig, Janneke van der Merlen. They're going to be hot competition when it comes to that A final of the women's double scull. Here's them on the start line, getting out there for a quick start. Looked a little bit challenging for the GB2 boat, and a little bit of a clashing here between USA and Finland. didn't stop the finish from getting back into contention for the A final through the course of the field, but utter domination from the Lobnig sisters of Austria, and going with them, the Netherlands world champions of 2022, here to try and hold on to their title, but they've got hot competition because this immense force from Austrian rowing, Katarina and Magdalena Lobnig. Now, what an amazing race that was. Hopefully they're going to come and join me here in the commentary box shortly. There are the official results and the standings. Those are the A finalists from that women's double. But we've had the pleasure of Yuri Suchak giving us the behind-the-scenes news on how it all works in the Austrian rowing team. And it's been great watching you race too, Yuri. So we've got more to look forward to of not only the Lobnig sisters racing, but yourself racing, and Wolfgang and Henrietta did very well as well earlier, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is Austrian coastal team. I mean, we are doing all great. Just, you know, in our own manner and, you know, what we can. But I would say tomorrow gonna be a fun day.
Gonna be a fun day indeed. Well, look, Yuri, thank you again. We'll catch up with you later.
Thank you.
So the next race is about to get underway. That was the women's double. Now we've got the third and last heat for the men's solo. And we've got Luca down there collaring our athletes in what is as close to a Martin Brundle pit walk as we can manage here at the Coastals here in Barletta.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get back into it. We are with the third heat of the men's solo. And again, we are about to start. We're here with our friends from the Bahamas. It's the second time for you. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good, pretty good. I'm just here to enjoy the race racing, and no matter what happens.
Michael, have you ever thought of organizing a world champ in the Bahamas?
Absolutely, we're working on it.
Oh, that's a good news. We can't wait to see you all in the Bahamas and take the entire world of rowing into your country.
We're looking forward to it.
Thank you very much and good luck. But let's keep running here. Oh, wow. Look at the camera there, please. They were fixing the boats, I think. What was happening here?
Sorry?
What were you doing there?
I asked Pekka to check the weights inside the boat, that they are fixed.
So is all good?
Perfect.
What are you expecting from this race?
Hopefully tight, but I'm very excited.
Good luck. Enjoy, enjoy. We keep running. I try to run through the water here. Let's see. Oh, ouch. How are you feeling?
Good.
Yeah, you're excited for this race?
Yes.
So what will be your strategy today?
I'm not going to tell you. Everyone wants to know.
Good luck, good luck. But of course we can't stop. Oh, well, you never stop. You know, we saw you winning like prior to the lunch break, and now you're about to start again. What did you have for lunch?
Men's
I just a sip of water and I'm ready to go.
Heat 3.
But I don't have my my power
minutes.
in the bows anymore, so I've got to do it on my own.
So what will you take on board from the previous experience?
Just try and be clean and try not to get in any tussles on the buoy turns.
Good luck, eh? Forza GB! Oh la la! And now we've got an Italian solo. You ready?
Ready? Yes, yes.
I really want to know what your coach said to you before the start. What did you say to him?
To be brave in this count and to go hard.
Oh wow, that's sort of a secret, eh? Let's, as an Italian combo, let's say buona fortuna. Ragazzi, buona fortuna, buona fortuna.
4.
Luca getting us all the insight from down there at the water's edge in our starting lineup. Here we've got 15 boats competing for 6 places into the A final, 6 places into the B final, which means the trailing 3 athletes won't be progressing. So the men's solo, all to play for here. This is the third and last heat in this boat category. Great to see Athletes from all over the world. American Samoa Rowing Association is here too. We've got Bahamas, some of the usual faces around here. Great Britain, Italy, Spain. We've got Finland's Joel Karinen. This time he's got to pull his own way around the course rather than coxing from the coxswain seat of the women's quad. Possibly the biggest and heaviest coxswain out there. Absolute monster of a man. And that's why he does so well representing Finland on the flat water as well as on the indoors. This is Charlie Cousins for Great Britain. Mumbles Amateur Rowing Club. We saw him and Claire Jameson dominating the mixed doubles heat earlier on today. He's got work to do now, as he said to Yuri. Got to do it on his own. This is Joel Karen. Look at the size of him. He's going to be in the coxswain seat of the women's quad. Quite unbelievable. They've drawn the short straw there. I'm sure his navigation will be epic, but he's a big lad to carry around the 4K course. So this is the lineup. Absolutely beautiful scenes here. The wind hasn't picked up much into this afternoon yet. We're nearly 2 o'clock here in Barletta, Italy. And as the wind picks up, you get slightly more chop on the coast here, making the exit and entry back onto the beach that little bit trickier. And we certainly enjoy hearing from the athletes that are used to coastal rowing how much they rely on it in order to be able to outdo some of the flat water rowers who are making their way onto the coastal scene. That expertise, so crucial, and skill in navigating the waves and the challenging conditions here. So just a couple of minutes to go until we have the start of this third heat. It's the penultimate heat of our entire competition. There's Theo Owen from Fishguard and Goodwick Jemima Rowing Club with his mum Martha helping with the boat handling. She runs the club, so a huge depth of field coming from the western coast of South Wales, where they're based, very close to Saundersfoot, where we had the World Championships last year in Wales, Great Britain. There we have Spain. So many Spanish athletes coming over. Arturo Conejo from Club Maritimo Linene. No, that's Franque Montfort from the Real Club Nautic de Tarragona. There's Theo Owen in the Fishguard Goodwick Jemima red and black. Specialised coastal athletes, the Fishguard and Goodwick Jemima club teams. So they definitely rely on the trickier conditions, which they're that little bit better at reading and taking advantage of. Poised and ready to carry their boats down to the water's edge. There we have, for the Bahamas, Michael Knowles from Scullers Rowing Club Bahamas, being helped out by, look, I think that's Jerry Owen, Theo Owen's brother, helping out the Bahamanian alongside him. So great to see everybody giving each other a bit of a hand with the boat handling. Norway's been asked to return to the breach in a surprise turn there for Oscar Gjerland of Norway rowing team. We'll find out what's caused the bother. I think he'd gone a little bit too far out, aiming for a little bit of an advantage there by just stepping out into the far side of the, just a little bit further away from the beach edge.
Attention.
Here we go, there goes the start. Let's see who punches it out to the early lead. Yuri Suchak joining me again for this race. Now, Yuri, you were racing in the first heat, I believe, for the men's solo, so you know what it's like out there in these solos. Tricky stuff. What will be going through these athletes' minds right now? Just get out in front.
I mean, now already the conditions are much trickier than they were in the morning, because the waves are getting higher. The wind is also blowing a bit harder. So as you see that they have already some more troubles like to go out. But the Joel Nauriken from Finland, he's a pretty mighty guy and he makes his move. I mean, it's also something to expect. He's a very motivated young man. I mean, one of the not so many Finnish people. I was recently talking like to the coach, and Finland has a bit troubles like motivating the US for the rowing, but Joel is for sure like the one who are they looking up to, because he is very motivated, was in Belgrade trying his best to get to the Olympics. Unfortunately didn't work out this time, but we hope to see him like at the European Resquad regatta.
And he's doing well. He's currently second to the big man from Canaccieri Cernobbio, where we've got Gabriele Loconsole out in front. So the early leader, the local Italian here. Luca spoke to him earlier. He's pushed out for the fast start and pulling away from now Karinen of Finland. So we'll see how this settles into this first kilometre.
I think
feel pretty packed.
I think somebody really to watch here is also Charles Cousins. He delivered pretty immense result like at the European champs, because he started not that fast, but then he just moved through the whole field, and if I'm not mistaken was fourth or third, and he gonna maintain exactly this speed, and that is something to expect back from him. And he's a big boy. He gonna have fun there. We were training together some days recently. It looked very good. As you see, here's already putting him in front.
Yeah, he's plugging away, coming back from 6th, now moving into 5th. Interesting to see how, look at this lead though. Gabriele Loconsole for Canaccieri Cernobbio of Italy, absolutely smashing it to the front of the field. Do you think he's going to burn himself out here though?
You know, probably, I mean, I would rather say waves are paid actors. So, and we're in Italy, so he's in his land and he's gonna perform it his best. So even the water helps him on his own land.
That's it. Here on home turf and home water, he's got that extra bit of motivation as he continues to pull away from Finland. Look at that, Charles Cousins now moving up into 3rd, ahead of the Norwegian, who had the slightly trickier start, having to get a little bit closer to the shore. Oscar Gjerland now in 4th. So the field it looks as though it's strung out, but it really isn't. It's just that they're quite widely spread, but it's not strung out from first to 10th. They're going to have to condense all around this turning point now, and then we'll get the real show of things.
It's going to be very interesting in the fast boy. Very interesting part about these World Championships, they relaxed a bit this fast boy situation where all the boats were crashing. They put just another one just directly after the first one, so you don't have to take the sharp turn, and there are just not that many collisions as you had it on the almost every regatta before. And let's even remember the Oeiras, where the guys just were fighting for the first buoy because it was 800 meters behind, and after the start line, and everybody was trying to take the closest turn. And here they made really a good job of planning exactly this course by just giving additional one buoy, just I don't know, 50 or 100 meters a bit further than the first one.
Yeah, it's taken the edge off that sharp corner, hasn't it? Well, they're starting to converge towards that first turning point now, and we're going to see who takes 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. I can't see anybody touching the leader, Loconsole, for Canaccieri Cernobbio. But the big man from Finland, he joined me in the commentary box last weekend. Hopefully we'll grab him later on this weekend too. Joel now Karinen, a cracking start for him, and he'll be able to rely on his immense training program to keep him fueled throughout this 4K course, but not much separating places 2 through 10 really here.
They're going, everybody is pretty close. I would say the Spanish guys and Portuguese guys are probably, you know, to have respect from, because after all, they know how coastal works. And in the men's single, it's just a tough field. And the ability to row coastal is probably one of the decisive aspects of doing here a good job. Because after all, Joel is very, very strong. He participated also in some indoor world championships. If I'm not mistaken, he's even was a world champion in the indoor. So he's a very mighty guy. But you know, if the boat gets shaky, it's just not that easy, like to apply all your power you have.
It's tricky. Look at this then. It looks like Charles Cousins has moved through now, Karen. So these two, I think, are going to be tussling all the way to that third turning point. They're pretty much level here. Only less than half a second separating them.
I think as well the Charles, he's not going for the full power at the moment. Why? Because he has a lot of races actually here. So, you know, hits are just better to save a bit more a bit more power, and in case of Charles, he has a lot of power. So basically, even if he saves, it's probably for me gonna be already like I'm going full power.
Well, yeah, he's a very tall athlete, isn't he? So he's got a lot of reach and length to his stroke. But you can see here, he's not even getting to be on half slide at the moment. So going for the slightly choppier approach to the rhythm to just keep the boat ticking over.
This is one of the ways how you can really have a bit more control over the boat, just to stay either a bit more in front. Like I think it's a bit more in front. It's more Adrian Miramon. He stays just trying to apply only the big muscles. Charles is also actually rowing only with his upper body, and that is, I believe, like something that makes them really fast.
Well, they're all cleanly round that first and second set of turning points, and the danger zone back in between 6th and 7th. Nuno Mendes for Portugal currently in 6th. Take you through the running order. We've got Lo Console in 1st, Cousins 2nd, now Karanen in 3rd, Gjerland for Norway in 4th, Frankie Monfort for Spain in 5, Mendes of Portugal in 6th, and then it's Hamans Latar for Peru, who's about 8 seconds down in 7th place. Then we've got Hennies for Germany, Conejo of Spain, Rivas for Peru, Andresen of Germany. And then currently in 12th place is Michael Knowles of the Bahamas, who we saw getting off the start. Theo Owen in the danger zone, currently in 13th, ahead of Tugrul Kara for Turkey. So we'll see how they get on at the back of the field for the few places into the B final. Look at this then. We've got Spain 0-1. That's Marc Franque Monfort from Real Club Nautique de Tarragona, getting into this tussle for 2nd and 3rd alongside Finland and Great Britain. It looks like he's got that slightly cleaner line here, though. It looks as though Charles Cousins has done a little bit of a looping arc and is having to come back on towards the turning point.
I mean, those waves in Barletta, they are a bit tricky. You know, they can take you with them, and you're not gonna even notice it. It's something that, let's say, some more coastal trainings exactly in Barletta would help also the participants like to perform better, to understand the waves better, because sometimes you just forget that, oh, I have to navigate, and then you just land somewhere. You have to row back. The buoy is already not in the sight, and you know the other guys are just overtaking you because you have to perform just 100 meters more. I mean, it's very, very tricky. But as we see, as I already kind of said, that Charles Cousins is here one of the favorites and the man to watch, because just unbelievably how he manages the boat, and yeah.
So this is Nuno Mendes from Club Fluvial Potense of Portugal, holding 30 meters up on the Peruvian Jeronimo Hamans Latar of Club de Regatas Lima. That's the dividing line between the A final positions. As the camera pans out, you can see he's got a pretty big lead here on 7th place, where we got the Peruvian. So they're coming up through 2K, and they're coming to that 3rd turning point now. So I think work to do for Hamans Latar to get back into A final contention. But it looks as though the shine is coming off the early lead of Gabriel Loconsole for Canottieri Cernobio. He's dropped back now into 2nd place behind Charles Cousins, who's taken the lead.
Talking about 6th and 7th position, the one in 7th, the Peruvian guy, like the Jeronimo, he's really very, very friendly one, and we were like chit-chatting in the evening just about the different ways how they train, how they prepare for themselves, like because he's from Lima. Oh, that's exactly what I was talking about, that sometimes just if you don't care enough about buoys, you can just get
That'll
lost.
be painful
You
for him,
can
that.
just get lost.
Yeah, and that'll be really forearm burning as well. All that extra steering activity to wrestle the boat around the turning point when you've gone and overshot on the wrong side.
You know, you're just getting sometimes just desperate because you know that it's gonna cost like 10 to 15 seconds, and these 10 or 15 seconds that just you need. That you even like in these conditions, in this particular race, that you actually need to get into this final A. And if you make exactly just, you know, you just forget that you have to steer, then the job gets just really very, very difficult to achieve.
Yeah, it's hard work, isn't it? Looking here at the front of the field then, we've got moving past the Italian. The Italian's dropped back into 4th place, though. I think he's starting to suffer from that fast start at the beginning. What is it that goes at this stage of the race, Yuri? I heard earlier from Brooke that the forearms start to be a struggle, but she's in a good position because she spent so much time doing her Pacific row. How do you find it in the latter stages? Is it a leg burn? Is it the forearms?
You know, it depends. Personally, I believe like depends from the athlete itself what style he or she decides to row in, because so sometimes they are just even trying out like different styles during the race. I think like the guys that are in front, let's say, fighting for the first to third position, they are a bit more relaxed. They know, okay, just don't do any mistakes. So they have a bit more this flow. And if you can follow the flow, then I believe that that is exactly what makes you fast. So you're not stressing around. You just do your work, do your job. Yeah. Don't think about too much. Just row and hope to bring it home.
Put your training into practice in the way that you've planned for the race.
And here you see the Geronimo fighting for his life. But I believe like exactly this mistake was done at the 4th buoy or third buoy. It's just you cannot do it well. I really believe in Geronimo because they have a very nice preparation. They have like in their rowing club in Lima, they have almost 16,000 like participants in this club. I believe it's for the different sports, but he's told me that they have real coastal. I mean, sometimes they have such a nice waves that they have to decide, are they going for the row or they go to surf? And they are like they are here with a very nice team because they are doing junior jobs. Geronimo as well, like he's a coach for all those kids that came with him. They are also participating here, like in the in endurance race. They performed not that bad in the beach sprint, so they're building up their own program in order to build up exactly this new generation of the future rowers, of the future, first of all, coastal rowers, because Lima is just predestined for the coastal rowing.
And it wasn't long ago that we had the World Championships for coastal rowing in Lima. Was it 2015, 2016?
I believe even there is some talking that it could be even 2025.
We'll keep our fingers and toes crossed, because wouldn't that be fun going out to Peru for the coastals and beach sprints again?
That would be really fun, because I mean this culture. I think just the cultural differences is very noticeable, and I really hope that we're gonna see more world championships just outside of the Europe, just to see the cultures, you know, to see the cultures, how they prepare. I was like a bit earlier in China as well. I mean, it's completely two different ways how you can organize same event.
Wouldn't that be great? A little bit more touring round and seeing all the different coastlines that the world has to offer. That's what makes coastal rowing and beach sprint rowing such an accessible sport to any nation, essentially, that has a coast, which you don't, do you?
No. Well, you know, we are trying our best. There are different,
brilliant.
like for the intercontinental countries, there are different like ways how we can practice. And you know, like the easiest one, like the Czech does. I mean, they're even having like their own beach sprint cup. So basically on 3 different lakes, three different stages, and they have their beach sprint. It's not really like that complicated made. It's probably like 1 or 2 meters of sand. just covered by the synthetic grass, just not to destroy the boats. And you are running actually completely in the grass. So you're not running beach sprint in the beach, but you're running it in the grass because it just, they don't have really this sandy coasts.
Sure, sure.
But you know, they still can prepare for that. I mean, you don't have waves, you don't have like this exactly true coastal, but you know, entering, exiting, running, rowing,
all the other elements,
sprinting, like doing the maneuvers. That's everything they can do. And as we saw it also last week, I mean, the Czech guys, they were performing actually pretty well. So to summarize, intercontinental, and it makes job a bit harder, but the coastal community in all its beauty and in all its friendliness, it's really manageable to get to the training. Because let's say Monaco invited us for the training camp. There are different, like with the Portuguese to train a bit more. It's just the matter of time, motivation, and willingness to perform.
That's all you need. But look at this now. Charlie Cousins, dominating performance out in front, leading ahead of Spain, where we've got Marc Franquet-Montfort, and then we've got Jolnau Karanen. Lonconsole has dropped back into 4th place, but looking pretty safe for an A final position. Going with him, Nuno Mendes for Club Fluvial Portense, and then it's the Norwegian holding on to 6th place, Oscar Gjerland for the Norway rowing team. In 7th, then it's still Hammond Zlatar in the danger zone. Looks like he'll be going through to the B final as it stands at the moment. Just 100 meters or so left of the on-water section here for Charles Cousins to row it out. Nothing's really going to change here, is it? And we look to the back of the field, though, and I think it's still between Theo Owen, who had moved up into 12th ahead of Michael Knowles at the 2K mark. He'll still be holding on to 12th at the moment, I believe, coming into the closing stages. It'll then be between Michael Knowles and Theo to see whether they can tussle around for that last place into the B final.
Very interesting ending, very interesting races, as you see. We have also in this race one of the oldest guys there, but that probably who you associate coast rowing with is Anders Santil. He was like almost to every coastal event till now, and he's just having exactly fun. He's just having fun.
That's what
he's
it's all
doing
about,
his races.
having a good time.
They have like their own a bit masters competition between each other, and it's something very nice to see in the coastal that you don't really have in the flat water.
I really like that. There's all sorts of different battles to be had out there in every race. But Charles Cousins wins that in 18:34.91. Not that the time is very comparable when it comes to the coastal racing. Franquet-Montfort in 2nd, and then that was Jolnau Karanen across the line for 3rd. Gabriele Loconsone for Italy coming in for 4th here. He had a very brave approach to his race, didn't he? Going out for it and then just clinging on to grim death to make sure he got through to the A final.
But as you see, it worked. So, you know.
Good strategy.
It's strategy.
Nuno Mendes for Portugal crossing the line for 5th. And then I believe we've got Oscar Gjerland for Norway closing out the lead 6 that are going on to the A final.
Oscar comes from the flat rower. He's as well a flat rower. We were competing with him in the university this year, like in China. He performed pretty well. Big man. I mean, big, strong man.
And just down there where he's crossed the line, we've got Luca, who's collaring a few athletes. Let's hear from them.
And another wonderful race for Great Britain. We saw you storming in the double and now in solo. So you recovered super well. And now another win for you. How was it?
Yeah, it's really good out there. Joel and the Spanish were right up behind me the whole way, so I couldn't go easy at any point. So I just had to race it out.
It was really tough one, eh? And the tough part was an hour, maybe less, between the two races. How did you manage that?
I jumped on the row machine, did 10 minutes, and then I was good to go again.
Well done to you. Let's see from the other athletes here. So you came 2nd. How was your race?
Well, at the beginning was a little bit difficult because I was in the 6th place, but when I can get my rhythm and I can perform well, I'm going to start winning positions, and that's the objective was getting the E-final, so it's done.
Well, job done for now, but we can't wait to see you into the A final, of course, as well as you. You were pretty nervous at the start. You had to check a couple of weights and things, but now I think worked out super well.
It went well. Charles and Spain were able to keep good pace. I was happy with that third position there on the second and third leg, because in a couple of minutes I need to go back to the boat in mixed double.
Hola, so good luck and run back, rest. We can't wait to see you in the double. Another qualification, great qualification, and good to see you. Wow, Portugal, well done to you. You happy?
Yes, I'm happy. The goal for this race is to get to the final. So I got it, so I'm happy for that. Now I need to improve some details to be more competitive, but I think it was nice.
Well done to you. Great job, and good to see you after many years.
Always great to hear from the athletes down there at the finish line. We're going to have a quick recap with our lovely highlights reel of that third and last heat for the men's solo. It was a clean start for most of the athletes there, but a rapid one for Gabriele Loconsole for Canacino Canobio, Italy 2. He went out to absolutely go after it. Charles Cousins went with him, as did Jolnau Karanen, who had a little bit of a tussle on the back leg. But it was Charles Cousins' strength and stamina that saw him move up through the field along with the athletes from Club Fluvial Potense and Real Club Nautic de Tarragona to take them through to the A final. A cracking race all round though, and we've got one more heat still to look forward to. That's the progression from this third and final heat of the men's solo. And Yuri, it's been a pleasure having you here in the commentary box with us again for that race. We've got just one heat left to look forward to. Can you believe it? This weekend's going so quickly.
I mean, you know, all good things have to come to the end. And it's unfortunate it is, or, you know, sadly it sounds.
But we've still got the finals yet to go, but it's just going too fast. I want it to take longer. But we
can just put it on hold, you know. We're just going to say, okay, just make a bit bigger break. Just, you know, 1 hour more. Probably the wind going to be even crazier, so we can see even funnier races. But, you know, that's how life goes, no?
That's it. Well, we've got a bit of a break coming up now because the last heat, which is the third heat for the mixed doubles, is due off at 3 o'clock local time here in Italy. And then we'll have the last break of the day before we get into the B finals from 4 o'clock. So we've got the third heat for the mixed doubles in half an hour, and then another half an hour break before the B finals for the women's quad, the men's double, and the women's solo, taking us up to just after 5:30 this afternoon here in Barletta, Italy. But Yuri, an absolute pleasure having you on comms again. Thank you for joining us and giving us all your insights and backstory to all of our athletes. We've thoroughly enjoyed it.
It was a pleasure for me as well, Pete. Thank you for having me. I hope I'm gonna join you in some other races as well.
Well, let's look to the schedule tomorrow and see if we can't have you back in the commentary box for some of the finals that we can enjoy tomorrow. But for the time being, folks, we're going to take a 30-minute break. My name is Peter O'Hanlon. I've been joined here in the commentary box by Yuri Suchak. It's been a pleasure. We'll be back with you in about 30 minutes.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy, wie sieht's aus?
Eine Sekunde, Moment.
Well, it's time to take your seats back in the grandstand. Get yourself back down to the beach because we've got just 15 minutes to go before the next heat of the Coastal Mixed Double Sculls, and it's our last heat of the weekend, the last opportunity to get yourself booked into that A final and races for the medals. After that, we've just got B finals for the rest of this afternoon and A finals also lining up ready for tomorrow. So get yourself back down. We've got plenty of action still to come here on day 2, and we can't wait to see you down on the sand.
Che bello vedere Barletta così in festa, signore e signori, mancano solo 15 minuti alla ripartenza delle nostre competizioni con l'ultima qualificazione in programma. Andremo a completare le qualificazioni del doppio mix. Questa sarà l'ultima batteria, parlando in gergo tecnico, poi inizieremo con le finali B. Domani le grandi finali per andare ad assegnare le medaglie di questo campionato del mondo. Si riparte quindi con l'ultima qualificazione, poi tutte le finali B che animeranno le acque di Barletta fino alle ore 17. Noi siamo pronti, voi siete pronti? Vi aspettiamo.
Welcome back, everybody, to day 2 here at the 2023 World Rowing Coastal Championships, Barletta, Italy. Beautiful scenes here as we get ready for the last of the heats in the whole competition, the 3rd heat for the mixed double sculls. We've had a packed schedule of racing through this morning as we got through all of the remaining heats, bar this one that we can look forward to heading out on the water in just under 5 minutes' time. My name is Peter Hanlon, thoroughly looking forward to telling you all about this race to come. And then this afternoon, there will be the B finals for 3 of the boat classes, 4 more B finals tomorrow. I'll have to catch up with your friends who may be here to catch up on how those have gotten on. We're going to cover this last heat here now, and then you can join us again tomorrow morning for the A finals from just before 10 a.m. local time here in Italy. Everybody's still enjoying their lunch here. I'm sure they'll be back in the grandstands in just a few moments' time as we look there at Corey Rogers and Christine Cavallo from the USA team of Next Level Rowing. Christine Cavallo getting herself a medal at the beach sprints last week. She's here competing in the mixed doubles now with Corey. No slouch is Corey either. He was quite the athlete through the course of last weekend as well, but I'll tell you all about that in due course. Lots to look forward to as we get ourselves ready for this first race. We've got 12 boats competing for 6 places into the A final, and the trailing 6 boats will go through to the B final. Wind starting to pick up as the day's gone on, so conditions getting that little bit trickier and trickier as we get into the afternoon slot. That's what these coastal athletes love, but you can see this beautiful overhead shot here of the beach here in Barletta, an enormous boat park filled with the tens and tens, probably even verging on over 100 boats required to put on at coastal championships like this. Now, 3 minutes until the start of this race, and we've got our all-star Italian commentator Luca Brogini ready to chat to some of the athletes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to start. Here is the last heat of this World Champ. Is the 3rd heat of the mixed double scull, and we've got a wonderful American USA combination here with Corey Rogers, Christine Cavallo. How are you feeling, Christine?
Feeling good. Very aware that anything can happen in these conditions, so excited to go out, execute a clean race.
You've been racing quite a bit here in Barletta. What's the highlight?
Probably the second half of this race. Once you're past those 2 long straights and it starts to get kind of dicey, it's really fun.
Corey, talking about strategy, we will be the strategy here.
Really just have some fun. We'll make a good wall with Canada over there. It'll be a lot of fun.
Great. Good luck, guys.
2 minutes.
So that was Corey Rogers. He's a world champion from the mixed coxed quads of last weekend in the beach sprints, where he was racing with Alexa McAuliffe, Jenny Sawley, Chris Back, who joined me in the commentary booth earlier. He's looking good for a fast A final race himself tomorrow afternoon in the men's solo. And of course, Coral Marie Kasdan in the coxswain seat. We saw Cavallo racing in the women's solo last weekend at the beach sprints, and she earned herself a bronze medal at that event in the B final. Now we look to this event here. We've got quite a packed field. We've got Eman Rafiq and Abdullah Alahey for Saudi Rowing Training Center in lane 1. Alejandro Caro and Antonio Javier Barbera Vega for Club Maritime Limene in lane 2. Corey Rogers and Christine Cavallo, we just saw there for Next Level Rowing in lane 3. Gail Irane and Yannick Bodelo for Société Nautique de la Baie de Saint-Malo in lane 4. Franco Nicolas Rapetto, Marina Sofia Koski for Rapas del Embarcadero of Spain. Sarah Pigeon and Aubrey Oldham of Don Rowing Club Canada in lane 6. Violante Lema and Rosario Panteca for Dibi Rowing Club Italy in 7. Chloe Briard and Kerry Boulet for Société Nautique de la Baie de Saint-Malo, France in lane 8. Lida Niemi and Joel Karanen, the Finnish coastal rowers in lane 9. Pedro Meister-Gill and Lorena Merida for Club Maritimo Linene in 10. Here we're looking at, in lane 6, Aubrey Oldham and Sarah Pigeon. And then we've got Elena Joanna Armelli and Riccardo Peretti for Canocieri Mondello of Italy in lane 11. And then completing our field in lane 12, Monica De Casca and Ronan Byrne, composite from Shandon and Portmagee, Ireland. So a stacked field, 6 places into the A final, 6 going through to the B final. Joel Karanen competing in just about every boat class that will have him. He raced in the solo earlier. He's now in the mixed double, and he's coxing in the women's quad. There's Rosario Panteca in the stroke seat of the Dibi Rowing Club Italy 3 boat. Iconic pink suits there, joined by Violante Lama. Looks like a good quick start for them getting underway. There'll be some to watch. Composite crew from Ireland on the near side of this picture. Two well-trained athletes from the Irish rowing squad, Dukarska and Byrne. We'll keep our eyes peeled for them. They'll have the strength and depth to put on a fast time. And we know that they're no strangers to coastal rowing, so they've got the experience to be able to turn that strength and speed on the ergo into fast pace on the water here at the Coastal Championships. So we'll see how they get themselves up to speed. And it looks like a fast start for France, where we've got Chloe Briard and Kerry-Anne Boulet just ahead of the Canadians, Aubrey Oldham and Sarah Pigeon. They'll be pleased with that start, punching it out towards an early lead. They were saying yesterday that they'd want to get out in front and get to that first turning point as quick as they possibly can. So they'll be pleased with that performance thus far. Lots of support required from the bank to make sure that they take a straight line. Nobody wanting to have to peek over their shoulder and risk missing a stroke that could earn them distance in this early stage, where it's just so important that they get to that first turning point quickly. Gets a little bit tricky to do overtakes later on down the course. So the field starting to spread out slightly. You can see some of the trailing boats there, probably out of contention for an A final position already. But France still out in front of Canada. And then we've got Rogers and Cavallo for the USA's next level rowing. And then the Italians, we've got from Canottieri Mondello, Armelli and Peretti, ahead of their fellow country men and women, Lama and Panteca of Dibi Rowing Club. And then Ireland 2, where we find the composite of Dukarska and Byrne riding in 6th place. So that's the 1 to 6, and we can see there's 7 boats in this little pack coming up towards the first turning point. It actually looks more like 8 boats when we see from this angle. So we'll see how they get themselves towards this first turning point. They're halfway there, just over halfway there. The French at the front of the field, solidifying a bit over a length lead. There's some clear water there. Boulet and Briard, a fast start for them. So they're up there at 32 strokes a minute, pushing towards the first buoy, but they're getting their lead eroded ever so gradually by the next level rowing crew of Rogers and Cavallo, starting to close in, wanting to pinch forwards and take the lead of this race. They've got the slightly longer arc to make around from the outside. They were in lane 3. Some would argue that that's the safer option being over there, because they can take as wide a course as they need to avoid any possible tangles. But frankly, this weekend we just haven't seen any of the tangles like we saw in Oeiras, Portugal 2 years ago, because they've added that extra buoy. They've got a little bit of a wider course to take. That's Gwyn Batten, which is the council member for coastal rowing. The brain, you could say, behind putting on these events and making them happen. And the constant improvements we see in the way that they're run, impressive, leveling up just about every single year. Now you can see then, even with the wave-piercing bow, the French starting to feel the pressure of the Americans over on the far side of the course. Canada, Don rowing in the middle of that picture, looking to try and get up into the lead as well. All these boats very spread out, as we've typically seen in this first leg. They're all going to have to converge into that first turning point. We might see France struggle because the others will start to squeeze in on them, and they'll have to take the narrowest angle around that buoy. See on the left-hand side of the picture, that's Rosario Panteca and Violante Lama from Dibi Rowing Club, just trailing behind the other Italians from Canottieri Mondello. Can't be more than another 100 meters or so from this turning point. That's where it's all going to come together. USA at the top of the picture there. That's the Italians from Canottieri Mondello on the right, and then we've got Ireland 2, the composite of Shandon and Portmagee, where we've got Monica Dukarska and Ronan Byrne plugging away, holding the front of the field. 6 places to go through. I think some of those boats at the back of this pack now starting to struggle for the pace. This is where it really starts to burn. They'll be coming up towards 800 meters in already. Many of these crews will have gone out as fast as they possibly can to try and get the edge in the early stages. That's where they burn up their their energy reserves and certainly put a lot of strain into the fine muscles that they have to use to keep these boats level, and the micro adjustments that they're making to keep the boats straight, as well as putting the power through where they have the opportunity. You can see the slightly bigger rolling waves now as they're getting out into the deeper water. Italy 1 leading Canonieri Mondello. That's Elena Ioanna Armelli and Riccardo Peretti. .30 strokes a minute for our leaders at the front of the field, so they've settled into their race rhythm now. Here's that first turning point as we see France going around it first. Chloé Briard and Kerianne Boulet. Thought the Italians might have pipped them to the turning point, but no, they've kept a very consistent approach to this race. Ireland 2 looking to try and move through and take second, but I think that's the Americans at the top right of the picture there who are holding on to third. And then we've got the Irish in fourth, so still quite a lot chopping around at the front of the field here. Italy, according to their timer, went round that buoy first, but I wonder if that's because they took the slightly wider arc. They may find themselves behind the French as we see them straighten out again and make this pivot round to turning point 3 in the distance and towards the marina, far off on the horizon. So I think that is the case. It looks as though the French still out in front, but Ireland starting to move up and going with them. So I think we're going to start to see the Italians struggle for pace here. They've got the Americans in the 4th place off the right of this picture. That's the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5th. Then we've got the Canadians, Sarah Pigeon and Aubrey Oldham. 6th, we've got Spain 7, where we find Franco Nicolas Repetto and Marina Sofia Cosco from Rapastel Embarcadero. And then they're in 6th place, so that's the danger seat. Finland's now Karenin and Niemi currently in 7th. They've got 2 seconds to make up if they want to contest a place in, well, in fact, you can see on this graphic they're in 6th now, but that's because they're level at the back of the pack there. So not much separating 6th, 7th and 8th at all, really, as we make our way down the back leg, or the back straight towards turning point 3. This is where the race can be made or broken. Wave piercing bow on the front of the French boat there, just to make sure that they stay level. Very, very sharp front end. Slightly deeper section front end with the bow, wave piercing bow of the Canadians. Sarah Pigeon and Aubrey Oldham just alongside Finland. Finland and Canada trading places for 6th. And Spain just a few meters their stern. So we'll see what happens as they start to straighten out. Who navigates the straightest course to try and earn themselves a position into that A final. Finland will be relying on Joel's power. However, we do need to recognize that it wasn't long ago that he raced the solo, so he'll have burnt a lot of his energy in that race. They're currently ticking over at 31 strokes a minute. See Rosario Pantec and Violante Lama on the left-hand side of this screen for Italy. They're currently back in 8th place, so work to do to try and contend here. Aubrey Oldham and Sarah Pigeon dropping back as they get moved up through by Spain, Repetto and Koski. So Canada could now be in the danger zone and moving back into 7th place. Worrying stuff for them. They may find themselves in the B final unless we see a response, but we so often see this. The Spaniards out in that deeper water, most Spanish crews in fact, just able to tick it over for a slightly better boat speed without as much effort expended along the course. Coming out towards this 3rd turning point then. This is an 850 meter long segment down the back straight towards the marina wall. Tomorrow for the A finals it'll be 1,500 meters, so nearly doubling in length this back straight. Still out in front though, France feeling the pressure as Italy now have overlap on them. And the Irish overlap on the Italians as well. And then we can see the Americans, they've taken a slightly wider route here, I think keen to keep themselves out of trouble. Corey Rogers in his iconic pink hat with his moustache, and Christine Cavallo in the stroke seat setting the rhythm. France have gone out strong. I wonder if this is that early push starting to pay, starting to get them back or bite back as they come up towards this 3rd turning point now. Work still to do, and they're going to need all their energy reserves to make the tight navigational turns they're going to need to through the remaining stages. 450 meters from turning point 3 to 4, 500 meters from points 4 to 5, and then we got that little chicane, 170 meter wide chicane around turning points 5 and 6 before they make the two 350 meter legs back into shore. It's all changing around now. I think France's early lead really is starting to bite back now as we see Italy and Ireland start to move up level. We could see a little bit of a clash here around the turning point. Depends on France's approach to the turning point. They take it very, very close, spinning their blades around. Well handled by France. That's earned them half a length back on Ireland now. A very, very fast turn for them. They didn't slow or take the edge off their momentum at all, which we've seen some of the other boats do that, holding it up on the inside. Italy currently in second, but I think we're going to see Ireland start to move through. They've got really good pace at the moment. USA dropping back to fourth. That's because they took the wider route around the corner, avoiding any potential mishaps or entanglements. But they've got great strength and endurance in the USA boat, so we may see them start to move up and contest third place with the Italians, who are now in third. So France pull out to, again, just over a length, showing their experience in the coastal rowing. Ireland are doing so as well. They're holding a solid second place, pulling past Italy. This is that French leading combination. I think they struggled for the boat speed down the back straight, but it just shows their expertise and skill in navigating the tight corners has paid off, and that's where their coastal rowing experience slightly pips the Italians and the Irish when it comes to the navigation of that turn. Beautiful scenes here. You can see they're heading back in towards the shore now, where they'll find turning point 4, and then they'll start to angle back in towards the chicane. So leading 3 positions pretty clear. Not much separating USA currently in fourth, but then absolutely level past the 2,000 meter mark. We had Spain 7, where we've got the Rapas del Embarcadero boat. They were absolutely level to the 100th of a second with the finish going around that corner. So they were level for 5th and 6th. That means it's Italy 3, Lama and Panteca in the danger zone of 7th and a place through to the B final. Behind them then, we see Aubrey Oldham and Sarah Pigeon dropping back slightly. They're now in 8th place, ahead of Caro and Barbero Vega for Spain 5, the Club Maritimo Lineni. Then we got France 5 behind them, the Société Nautique de la Baie de Saint-Malo, Gaël Irania and Yannick Boudelo. And then Saudi Arabia's Rafiq and Al-Hay at 11th place, just a nose ahead of Spain 8, Maestre and Merida. Well, this is the Irish rocketing past France to take the lead. A great couple hundred meters for them, just showing the strength and depth in their training out here on the water. Was a bit too much despite the technical skill and expertise of the French rowers from Société Nautique de la Baie de Saint-Malo. So a great race from Monica de Casca and Ronan Byrne, now leading from the front. Coming up towards the chicane then, in perhaps another 250 meters, where they'll go from turning point 5 to 6, 170 meters separating them. I can't see much changing at the front here. The question's going to be all around the back or the middle of the pack between Spain, Finland and Italy 3's Dibby Rowing Club. There was about 8 seconds separating 6th to 7th as they passed the halfway point. So we'll see how Panteca and Lama have managed to close it down or not as they come in towards the chicane. This composite crew from Ireland showing that they have the endurance to keep that boat speed as high as they had it at the beginning. As we heard earlier, these boats tend to have a maximum speed, so it's all about how you push the boat speed as best as possible without burning yourself out. Here we go then, Finland currently in 5th. Jolnau Karanen and Lida Niemi. 6th place is Spain 7, Raspas de Embarcadero, and then it's Italy 3 in that danger seat, as we said earlier. Dibby Rowing Club's Lama and Panteca. They've got about 2 lengths up on the Canadians, so there's still all that to close down as we come in towards this chicane now. Strong, strong performance from Ireland. In the last kilometre, they've managed to go from a length behind France to now being 3 lengths up on France, going around turning point 5. So this is the chicane, where they'll now make their way up towards turning point 6, just 170 meters away. Doesn't look like there's any issues going around the corner there. Some braking or some hand braking from the Americans just to make sure they take as tight a corner as they possibly can. And then we've got Finland behind them and Spain in 6th. And then you saw there was a pretty big lead up on Italy and the Canadians, the Italians from Dibby Rowing Club. I reckon we're probably seeing the chain of boats that will also be in this order when it comes to crossing the finish line. Now they have the advantage of rowing with the waves back into shore. No real rollers for them to enjoy any surf on at this stage, just the slightly choppy effect as the wind starts to stir up a little bit. That's the Italian crew out near the front of the field. Elena Ioanna Armelli and Riccardo Peretti from Canaccieri Mondello. They're currently holding a good, safe 3rd place behind the French. Little armada of boats following this train all the way around our 4K course. Important that they don't have any wash or wake that could upset the athletes in the middle of the pack, because whilst they're trying to follow the leaders, it's the wake from those boats that may be washing down the real race, which is between places 6th and 7th in this last heat of our entire competition. I still can't quite believe it. It's the last heat for the mixed double sculls, the 3rd of 3. Quick peeks over their shoulders. I'm sure they're longing for this race to be over, the Irish here. But a great performance here representing Shandon and Portmagee, Monica Dukaszka and Ronan Byrne. Finland looking good for that 6th place at the moment, with Panteka and Lama just astern of them in their pink suits. So the key thing is going to be, what can the Italians do to try and get back into this competition and row up through that. Spain currently in 6th, moving up through Finland now, putting on a bit of a push through the chicane. Spain's Raspas del Embarcadero, represented here by Franco Nicolas Repetto and Marina Sofia Koski. I think we see the finish just easing off the pressure now. I think they can look back and see the Italians and not feel that they need to really burn it out for a strong finish here. Joel has raced several times already. I don't know how he's got anything left in the tank. At least when he's racing in the women's quad, he'll be in the coxswain seat. So he'll have to use his brain to motivate them to a fast race. And then we can see the Italians there. They're in that danger zone, 7th, just coming around the buoy. They'll have to empty the tank now in this finishing sprint towards the line. Nobody's going to touch these leaders, though. Monica Dukaszka and Ronan Byrne, 2.5 to 3 lengths up on the crew from France, who have had a great race. I mean, their coastal expertise really paid off at the start. Couldn't quite hold the pace ahead of Dukaszka and Byrne, who just have absolute engines on them. And they've managed to catch a little bit of a wave here as well, so they'll be able to surf that in slightly towards the beach. And then we're going to see Monica Dukaszka run up the shore. She's in the bow seat. David, the Hasselhoff Hussey there, giving us his best impression, coming up to hold on to the beach, hold on to the boat. Only one person's allowed to run up the beach when it comes to the endurance variation compared to the beach sprints. But Dukaszka's going to lock in the win here for the 3rd heat of the mixed double sculls. She'll be pleased with that. I think she'll have perhaps been a little bit worried by them being in 2nd or 3rd through the back leg. But they paid that off with their effort through the chicane and a strong lead. And then, of course, we had France coming in with Chloe Briard, and then here, Elena Ioanna Armelli for 3rd place for Italy. 4th, then, we've got the USA's Christine Cavallo making the run up the beach ahead of Finland's Joel Karinen. And then 6th place, putting in a proper sprint here just to lock it in, we've got Spain's Marina Sofia Koski. So that's the leading 6 through. We know who's going through to the A final. We'll see the rest race again in the B final. But for the time being, we've got Luca down there at the finish line. So let's hear from the athletes. I think they're just gathering their breath, and then Luca will do his best to collar them. This, of course, being the last heat of the championships. Over to you, Luca.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a wonderful sprint here. An amazing race for Ireland. You just won the third and last heats of the mixed double scull. How was it?
It was great. We had a strategy and we stick to it, so we were happy that we were making ground.
Talk us about the strategy. What was the strategy?
I suppose initially to get first to the first buoy, but that didn't happen, so then we just focused on rowing well together and just responded to the race that is unfolded.
You qualified into the A final. What's the next? What will it be, the A final?
I would say it would be, a fight for the medals, really.
That's great. Good job to you. Well done. And now let me hear from the Italian combination here, Elena and Riccardo. Elena, you qualified for the A final. How was it?
It's fantastic. It's a very beautiful race. Strong water in the start. There is some wave, but Riccardo is fantastic.
Well done to you, well done. And you qualified again. Another wonderful race for you. What's your secret?
I have tried to train myself in a good shape. That was the fourth boat here into the A final for me.
Well, that's a great job and great achievement. Now rest, relax. We can't wait to see you into the A final.
Yeah, all those 4 times.
Well done to you.
Can you believe it? He's going to be racing 4 times in the A finals tomorrow. There are only 7 A finals to race. They might as well let him race in some of the categories he's not meant to, just to see if he can get the clean sweep. But he's racing 4 times tomorrow. Joel now Karen, an absolute monster of a man, a real athlete he is. We look forward to that tomorrow. But here's a recap of that race. A cracking start for France, where Chloé Briard and Kerry-Anne Boulet took the early lead. Around this turning point, expert precision and expertise and skill from these coastal rowers. But that's the Irish rocketing past them through the corner. Monica Dukasca and Ronan Byrne from Shandon and Portmagee ultimately taking the win. Dukasca across the line, leading the way into the A final from the mixed doubles. Well, folks, what a day it's been. We've had all of the heats, which means everybody knows their final if they've made it into a final. There are 3 B finals later on today. You'll have to follow on the results on the website to find out how they get on. And then we've got 4 B finals tomorrow morning before we get into the medal finals, which will be brought to you live on this broadcast from 10 o'clock, or will be live just before 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, local time here in Barletta, Italy. We've got the 3 A finals to look forward to in the morning: women's solo, men's double, and women's quad. Brief break for lunch, and then we'll be back with the remaining A finals from 2:30, where we've got the women's double, followed by the men's solo, men's quad, and finishing up our day and the whole championship with the mixed double at 4:45 tomorrow afternoon. We'll also have a look at the victory ceremonies and closing ceremony to enjoy at the end of the whole championships, because it's been phenomenal here in Barletta. It's been such an amazing day here. You can see some of those highlights, the Magdalena and Katarina, the Lobnig sisters from Austria. We saw Claire Jameson, she raced several times back-to-back. Impressive performance from those athletes. A few lockups from the boats. Domination from this, the Lobnig sisters out at the front of the field ahead of the Dutch World Champions from 2022. Katarina Lobnig making her way up the sand to confirm their place in that A final. We've had nations from all around the world: Portugal, Bahamas, American Samoa, Peru. It's been amazing to see this field continue to grow as athletes from all around the world take part. You don't even need a coastline, as we were discussing with Yuri Suchak earlier. Landlocked Austria have turned out some amazing athletes here at this Coastal Championships, who are progressing on to their finals tomorrow that we'll look forward to here in Barletta. Loads of great racing conditions, absolutely stunning here on the coast. Slightly calmer than we've had earlier in the week, and indeed last weekend for the beach sprints. But it's calm and cool now. We've got a brief break before we wrap up for the day, and it's a few A finals to look forward to tomorrow. So just to remind everybody, come and join us for those A finals tomorrow from just before 10 o'clock local time here in Italy. My name's Peter O'Hanlon. It's been an absolute pleasure bringing you all the colour and spectacle of the racing here in Barletta. Have a great afternoon or evening, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.